Hi everyone, this is seller newsletter number 2 for the fall 2023 sale. Okay, so one of the most common questions that we get from sellers is ideas for how they can make their items most likely to sell. So everybody has different experiences, but these are some experiences that we've had. The number one thing is clean equals green. So if your item is visibly not clean, even if it's totally cleanable, it's probably not going to get purchased, and it's going to get pulled from the floor because we don't want to have items on the floor that are not clean. So please take the time to clean them. You can, so outdoor toys, I know outdoor toys can get really grimy, and I know they're going outdoors, so it doesn't seem like you need to clean it, but remember, people are purchasing items that they can imagine their child using, and it's hard for somebody to imagine their child using something that looks grimy, even if it's going to be grimy at their house in a couple weeks. Okay, so take some time, hose it off, wash it off, scrub it down, all that stuff to make sure that it is clean. There is a link in the email it's to a post that gives some ideas for getting stains out of laundry. I know it's super frustrating. I can tell you, for example, infant clothing, watch the necks because spit up stains will be totally not visible when you put the clothes away and then you pull them out a few months later and all of a sudden there's this big yellow stain along the neckline. So watch that stuff. That post has some great tips for getting stains out of clothing. You'd be surprised the number of stains that you can get out just with using a few tricks. If you cannot get the stain out or you don't want to have to put the work into it, please do not bring that item to the sale. Our shoppers are looking for nice items. They are not looking for stained items. If you have an item that is electronic, you want to make sure that it comes in working condition, meaning put batteries in it. We're not going to send it home if it doesn't have batteries in it, but I can tell you that if it's electronic and it does not have batteries in it, it's probably not going to sell because people want to be able to know that that item is going to work before they purchase it. And along with that, making sure that you have all of the pieces that are necessary for that item. So if you are missing a piece that is important for the working of that item, please don't bring it. You'd be surprised how often you can contact a manufacturer and get replacement parts, things like that. If you want to do that before bringing it, that is perfectly fine, but make sure it's in working condition so people can know that it's going to work for them. So pricing. So I always say, one of the best things about selling with us is you get to set your own prices. And I also say one of the hardest things about selling with us is you get to set your own prices. So what I mean by that is you get to choose how much you want to try to get for your item. But I also know that can be really overwhelming. There's a link in the post that gives you a pricing guide that I think is a good starting off point. So for example, for non-clothing items, usually start at about 30% of whatever retail on that item is. Go up a little bit if it's a really, really good condition. If maybe it's a harder to find item, go down a little bit if it's looking pretty worn. Ultimately, remember, people are coming to our sale looking for a deal. So if you are trying to get, a good chunk of what you paid for that item, it's likely not going to sell. So if you want that item to sell, you need to price it competitively. Really try to look at things objectively. I know it's really hard because these items are things that our children used, and so it's really hard to separate that sentimental value. But make sure you are valuing the item to a person who does not have memories attached to it. Okay, so really try to think of it objectively. People also want to see the item that they're buying. So with some items, this can be kind of tricky. So a really good example is bedding. It can be really hard to show what the bedding includes, what it looks like, all that kind of stuff packaged up in a way that it can sell. So for example, with bedding, one thing that I think works really well is if you put it either, if you have like a comforter bag or a bedding bag, that works great. Otherwise, like a large Ziploc bag, those work great. At one time you could find those at Dollar Tree. I think that's still the case. Put it in that, and then you can print off like a stock photo of the bedding to kind of show the design, and you can list what's included. That's totally fine. When people do that with their bedding, it is much more likely to sell, because if they're just looking at, twin size bedding and it's just a bundle of stuff, and if that shopper, it's really important that they have all the parts to it, they're going to skip it and choose something different. I will post some pictures in the Facebook group. I always try to get pictures when sellers do a particularly good job of packaging their items. I try to snap pictures of it to share. So watch in the Facebook group to see ideas for how to package items in a creative way. And again, back to that Facebook group with pricing questions and with packaging questions, that group can be a really, really good resource, because those folks, we've got people in there who've been selling for years who can give you some really good ideas on what they've done. Also, just remember, some items are just going to be tough sells. They're going to be things that there's a lot of similar items, or they're very particular items that you need just that right shopper for. So don't get discouraged if you have something that doesn't sell this time and you want to try to sell it again. And just kind of keep in mind that if it is an item that the last time you were at the sale, you saw 20 of those items, and at the half price sale, there were still 10 of them, that's a lower demand item, or maybe just one that we have way too much that comes into the sale for. So price it accordingly, price it competitively if you do not want to be bringing it back home. And along with that, remember that we do have a particular way that items need to be prepared for our sale. And so it's really important you take the time to read the website, read the newsletters, making sure that you understand how to prepare your items for the sale. That is what makes it so that our sale can be organized and easy to shop, which ultimately means your items are more likely to sell. All right, so appointments. Every seller needs a drop-off appointment. So you need to go into your consignor workstation, choose a drop-off appointment. If you get in there and there are no drop-off appointments that work for you, sometimes we can still work with you, so shoot me an email and we'll see if there's something we can do. If you're unaware, we do not even get into the Armory until the Wednesday night before the sale. And then we are just drop off constantly until we start final organizing. So there's not a ton of flexibility, but we don't be totally discouraged if nothing in there works. Please shoot me an email and we'll see what we can do. If you are planning on picking up any unsold items, so unless you are marking every single item for donation, you need to have a pickup appointment as well. And this is just going to help scatter you out a little bit so you're not all coming in for pickup at the same time. Just make that process go a little bit smoother for you, and we're more likely to be ready for you when you get there. Hopefully save you some time. So speaking of donation, a lot of times people see this option when they're entering their items and they're not sure what that means. So something we're really proud of with the sale is that we're able to support local families through the sale. So if you have an item that you do not want back after the sale, if it does not sell, it gets donated to a local organization. So the way that works is, first it goes to our after sale party. And so how that works is we have local organizations that we partner with who are organizations that work with families who are in need, and we give them invitations, and they distribute these invitations to the families that they work with, and so those families can come shop for their own families for free. We really like doing it this way because we are very big believers in letting families choose the things that their children need, and that they still get to take part in that experience. We are really, really proud of that program. So anything that is left over after the after donation party, that goes to Judy from Toys for Manhattan. She picks everything up because she is amazing, and she keeps what works for Toys for Manhattan. And then she also has partnered with other local organizations to distribute other things that aren't a good fit for Toys for Manhattan or that she doesn't need. So she partners only with other local organizations. Again, supporting local is super important to us. So that is where those items are going to go. And then at the end of the sale, they are gone. I'm not taking them home, I promise you, because I don't want to. I also are most of the time our items I donate after the sale because I really love the way the system works after. So that's how that works. Please let me know if you have any more questions about that. Final important thing, volunteer sign up opens Saturday at 9 a.m. So you can actually do this right through your consignor workstation, the same place you go in to enter your items. So sellers shop 6:30 on October 6th. Volunteers shop at 5:30. So if you would like to work a 4-hour shift, that gets you in to shop a full hour earlier, which means that you are going to have better selection. You're gonna be able to snag those better deals. Any higher demand items, you're gonna have a much better shot of getting them, especially at the price that you're hoping to pay. It's also, I can tell you honestly, this is not just me needing volunteers, this is a true honest thing. I started out the sale as a volunteer and then became a seller, and I can tell you that once you are a volunteer at the sale, you're gonna be a better seller because you are able to see how items are prepared, you're able to see how items are organized, you're able to see how the sale works, and it's going to make you a better seller. You're going to be able to understand better how to prepare your items, gives you some different tips and tricks and things like that. Plus I think it's a lot of fun. There's not a lot of options where you get to hang out with other parents particularly. We're fun. I don't know, come hang out with us. All right. Again, if you are just joining since last Wednesday, make sure you watch or read seller newsletter number 1 so that you can have all that information. But everything from the newsletters are on the website. So that is also another option for making sure you have all the information you need. As always, like I say a bajillion times, is please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I would always rather you ask me a question that I have to answer 14 million times than you be left feeling confused and not feeling like you know what's going on. All right? Have a great time tagging.